Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Quick English Podcast. I'm Emily.
And Jake. Today's episode is all about mastering job-related small talk and conversations in English. Whether you're at the office, in a job interview, or chatting with colleagues, we've got you covered with practical examples and essential English conversation phrases.
That's right, Jake. We'll be exploring different scenarios you might encounter at work, from interviews to meetings, and even casual conversations during a coffee break. Each dialogue will give you a chance to hear how these phrases sound in real-life situations and learn how to use them naturally.
And for those of you who are learning English at the beginner level, this podcast is designed to help you feel more confident in using English at work. So let's get started with our first scenario, a job interview.
Good morning, Lisa. It's great to meet you. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, thanks. Did you have any trouble finding our office?
Not at all. The directions were clear, and I enjoyed the walk through the park nearby. It's a beautiful area.
It is, isn't it? We're lucky to be in such a nice part of town. By the way, did you have a chance to look over the job description?
Yes, I did. The role seems like a great fit for my skills and experience, and I'm excited to learn more about it today.
We'll dive into that in a moment. But first, could you tell me a little about your background and what drew you to this position?
This first dialogue is a great example of how to start a job interview with some friendly small talk. Let's break down some of the key phrases to help you understand them better.
Absolutely, Emily. Let's start with the phrase, good morning. It's a common and polite way to greet someone, especially in a formal setting like a job interview. Notice how both the interviewer and Lisa use this phrase to start the conversation on a positive note.
Yes, and when the interviewer asks, "How are you today?" it's a simple way to ask how someone is feeling. It's polite and helps to create a friendly atmosphere. Lisa's response, "I'm doing well, thank you," is a polite way to say she's feeling good. And don't forget to add, "thank you" at the end. It's always good to be polite.
Another important phrase is, did you have any trouble finding our office? Here, trouble means difficulty. The interviewer is asking if it was hard for Lisa to find the office. Lisa responds with, "Not at all," which is a polite way to say, "No, I didn't have any problems."
Then Lisa adds a personal touch by saying she enjoyed the walk through the park. This is a great way to make small talk and show a bit of your personality during an interview. It's also a good way to relax and make the conversation feel more natural.
Next, the interviewer uses the phrase, "by the way," to change the subject smoothly. It's like saying, "Oh, before I forget, here's something else." In this case, the interviewer is moving the conversation from small talk to discussing the job itself.
And then Lisa says, "The role seems like a great fit for my skills and experience." The word role here means the job or position. When Lisa says it's a great fit, she means that it matches her abilities and background well. This is a good phrase to use in interviews to show that you believe you're a good match for the job.
So remember these phrases, good morning, how are you today, not at all, by the way, and the role seems like a great fit, as they can really help you sound polite and professional in a job interview.
Let's keep these phrases in mind as we move on to our next scenario, catching up with a colleague during a coffee break.
Hey, Mark, how's your day going so far?
Hey, Sophia. It's going well. Just trying to catch up on some emails. How about you?
Same here. By the way, did you hear about the new software update we're getting next week?
Yeah, I heard it's supposed to make things easier. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works.
Me too. It should help speed up our workflow. Speaking of which, how's your project going? I know you were working on something big.
It's coming along. I'm hoping to wrap it up by the end of the week. Maybe we can go over it together before I submit it.
Sure, I'd be happy to help. Just let me know when you're ready.
This dialogue is a great example of how to have casual conversations at work, like during a coffee break. Let's look at some of the phrases they used.
Sophia starts the conversation with, "Hey Mark, how's your day going so far?" This is a friendly and casual way to ask someone how their day is progressing. It's more specific than just asking, "How are you?" and helps to show genuine interest.
Mark replies with, "It's going well," which is a simple and positive response. The phrase, "trying to catch up on some emails," means that Mark is working on answering emails that he hasn't had time to read yet. Catch up means to do something you haven't had time to do before.
Then Sophia uses the phrase, "by the way," to introduce a new topic. She asks about the software update, which is when a computer program gets new features or fixes. Saying, "We're getting next week," means it will happen soon.
Mark's response, "I'm looking forward to seeing how it works," is a great phrase to use when you're excited about something that's going to happen. Looking forward to is a polite way to express anticipation.
Sophia then talks about speeding up our workflow. The word workflow means the way you get your work done. If something speeds up your workflow, it helps you work faster and more efficiently.
When Mark says, "maybe we can go over it together," he's suggesting that they review or check the project together. Go over means to review something carefully.
And Sophia's reply, "I'd be happy to help," is a polite way to offer assistance. It's always good to offer help in a friendly way at work.
So, key phrases from this conversation include, "How's your day going so far? By the way, looking forward to, speed up our workflow, and go over it together." These phrases can make your conversations with colleagues more natural and friendly.
Now let's see how small talk can help in a team meeting.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we dive into the agenda, how's everyone's day going?
Afternoon. It's been a busy day, but we're making good progress on the project.
Same here. Just finished a big task, so I'm feeling good.
That's great to hear. By the way, I wanted to get your thoughts on the new timeline for the project. We're aiming to finish a week earlier than planned. How does that sound?
It sounds ambitious, but I think we can manage it. We might need to prioritize some tasks, though.
I agree. Maybe we can discuss which tasks are the most critical right now.
Definitely. Let's brainstorm some ideas and see how we can make this work. We'll need everyone's input to stay on track.
In this scenario, we see how small talk at the beginning of a meeting can set a positive tone. Let's break it down, Jake.
Sure. The manager starts with, "Good afternoon, everyone." This is a polite way to greet a group of people. Good afternoon is used after noon and before evening. It's important to use greetings appropriate to the time of day in formal settings.
The manager then asks, "How's everyone's day going?" This is a friendly way to check in with the team. It's similar to asking, "How are you?" but is more specific to the day's activities. It shows that the manager cares about how the team is feeling.
When the team member says, "It's been a busy day, but we're making good progress," they're giving a brief update on their work. Busy day means they've had a lot to do. Making good progress means that they are advancing well with their work. It's a positive way to report that things are moving forward as planned.
And when the manager says, "By the way, I wanted to get your thoughts on the new timeline for the project," the phrase, "by the way," is used to shift the conversation to a new topic. Here, the manager is introducing a change in the project schedule and asking for feedback.
The term timeline refers to the schedule or plan of when tasks should be completed. Aiming to finish a week earlier means they are trying to complete the project ahead of the original deadline. This phrase shows ambition and planning.
When team member 1 says, "I sounds ambitious, but I think we can manage it," they use ambitious to describe a challenging goal. Can manage it means they believe they can handle or achieve the goal, even if it's difficult.
And prioritize some tasks means deciding which tasks are most important and need to be done first. This is a useful phrase when discussing how to organize work.
Team member 2 suggests, "Maybe we can discuss which tasks are the most critical right now." Here, discuss means to talk about something in detail, and critical means very important. This is a good phrase to use when you need to decide what to focus on.
Finally, the manager says, Let's brainstorm some ideas, which means to think of creative solutions together. Input means the ideas or suggestions from team members. Stay on track means to keep working towards the goal without getting off course.
So, some useful phrases from this conversation are, good afternoon, how's everyone's day going? By the way, timeline, ambitious, manage it, prioritize, discuss, critical, brainstorm, and stay on track. These phrases will help you sound more natural in meetings and collaborative discussions.
Now let's move on to our next scenario, giving feedback to a colleague.
Hey Emma, do you have a minute to talk about the report you submitted yesterday?
Sure, Oliver. What's up?
First of all, I wanted to say that you did a great job on the research. The data is really thorough. However, I noticed a few areas where we might need to make some adjustments.
Thanks, Oliver. I appreciate the feedback. What do you think needs changing?
Well, I think we could clarify some of the points in the executive summary to make it more concise. And maybe we could add a few more visuals to help illustrate the data.
That makes sense. I'll work on tightening up the summary and adding those visuals.
That's it for now. Let's review it together once you've made the changes, and we can finalize it before sending it off.
Sounds good. Thanks for the input, Oliver.
Giving feedback can be challenging, but Oliver did a great job here. Let's break down the conversation and the phrases used.
Absolutely. Oliver starts by asking, do you have a minute to talk about the report? This is a polite way to ask if Emma has time for a discussion. Report refers to a document or presentation.
Oliver begins with a positive comment. You did a great job on the research. This is a good way to acknowledge the effort before discussing areas for improvement. Thorough means detailed and complete.
Then Oliver says, I noticed a few areas where we might need to make some adjustments. Noticed means observed or saw, and adjustments are changes or corrections. This helps to introduce feedback in a constructive manner.
Emma responds with, I appreciate the feedback. Appreciate is a polite way to say thank you. It shows that she values the input and is open to making improvements.
Oliver suggests, we could clarify some of the points in the executive summary. Clarify means to make something clear or easier to understand. The executive summary is a short summary of a longer report.
And when Oliver says to make it more concise, he means to shorten or simplify the summary without losing important information. Concise means giving a lot of information in a few words.
The suggestion to add a few more visuals means to include images, charts, or graphs.
Emma's reply, that makes sense, shows understanding and agreement. It's a good way to acknowledge that the feedback is clear and reasonable.
Finally, let's review it together means to look over the report with Emma before it's finalized. Finalize means to complete or finish something.
So remember these phrases. Do you have a minute? Great job, thorough, adjustments, appreciate, clarify, visuals, and review it together. These will help you give and receive feedback effectively.
Next up, we'll explore a scenario that can be a bit tricky, networking at a company event.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I don't think we've met before. What department are you in?
Hi Rachel, I'm Jason. I work in the marketing department. How about you?
I'm in finance. It's nice to meet you. How long have you been with the company?
I've been here for about 2 years. It's been a great experience so far. How about yourself?
I just joined a few months ago. I'm still getting used to everything, but I'm enjoying it.
That's great to hear. If you need any help or have questions about the company, feel free to ask.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I might take you up on that offer. It's always good to have someone to ask when you're new.
Absolutely. And if you're ever interested in learning more about what we do in marketing, just let me know. We're always looking for new ideas.
Thanks again for the warm welcome.
Networking can be a bit awkward, but this conversation shows how to make it smooth. Let's break down the phrases.
Sure. Rachel starts with "Hi, Rachel," which is a simple and friendly introduction. "I don't think we've met before" is a polite way to acknowledge that they haven't met yet. It's a good icebreaker.
Marketing department refers to the team responsible for promoting products or services. It's important to mention your department in these situations to give others an idea of what you do.
Rachel then asks, "How long have you been with the company?" This question helps to learn about someone's experience. "How long" asks about the duration of their time at the company.
Jason's reply, "I've been here for about 2 years," gives a clear answer. "It's been a great experience" means he's had a positive time working there.
Rachel says, "I just joined a few months ago." Just joined means she started recently. Getting used to everything means she's still learning how things work.
Jason offers help by saying, "If you need any help or have questions about the company, feel free to ask." "Feel free to ask" is a polite way to offer assistance. It means she can ask anytime without hesitation.
And when Rachel says, "Appreciate that," she's thanking Jason for his offer. "I might take you up on that offer" means she might ask for help in the future.
Jason's invitation to learn more about marketing is friendly and open. Learning more means gaining additional information, and new ideas refers to fresh thoughts or suggestions.
So, some useful phrases from this conversation include, "I don't think we've met before," "What department are you in?" "How long have you been with the company?" "Just joined," "Getting used to," "Feel free to ask," "I appreciate that," and "Learning more."
These phrases will help you make connections and network effectively in any professional setting. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, we've been exploring some key English phrases for job-related conversations. We've already covered small talk, giving feedback, and networking, but there's so much more to dive into.
That's right, Emily. Now let's move on to another common scenario at work, handling a difficult situation, like when something goes wrong. This is a part of work life we all encounter at some point, so knowing how to navigate in English is crucial.
Hi, David. Can we talk for a minute? I noticed there was an issue with the report that was sent out this morning.
Oh no, what happened?
It looks like some of the data in the financial section was incorrect. I think there might have been a mix-up with the numbers.
I'm really sorry about that. I must have overlooked it. How should we handle it?
Don't worry too much. These things happen. I suggest we send out a correction email to clarify the mistake. We can also double-check the data before the next report to avoid this in the future.
That sounds like a good plan. I'll get started on the correction email right away.
Thanks, David. Let's also make sure to review the process to see where we can improve it.
Absolutely, I'll set up a meeting with the team to go over it.
Handling mistakes at work can be stressful, but Claire and David's conversation shows how to address the issue calmly and professionally. Let's unpack some of the phrases they used.
Sure, Emily. Claire begins with, "Can we talk for a minute?" This is a polite way to ask someone for their time, especially when you need to discuss something important. It's a phrase you might use when you need to address a sensitive issue.
Exactly. And then, when Claire says, "There was an issue with the report," she's using the word issue as a neutral term for a problem. It's less confrontational than saying something like problem or mistake directly, which can help keep the conversation calm.
David's response, "I must have overlooked it," is a great example of taking responsibility. Overlooked means he accidentally missed or didn't notice the error. This is a useful phrase when you want to acknowledge a mistake without making excuses.
And Claire's suggestion, "I suggest we send out a correction email," is a constructive way to propose a solution. The phrase, "send out" means to distribute or communicate something to a group, and correction email is the message that clarifies the mistake.
Then she says, "Let's also make sure to review the process," which is another way of saying that they should look at how they're doing things to prevent future errors. Review the process is a common phrase in work settings, especially in quality control or when you're trying to improve efficiency.
And David ends with, "I'll set up a meeting with the team to go over it." Here, set up means to organize or arrange something, and to go over it means to discuss or examine the details. This phrase is useful for planning follow-up actions after an issue has been identified.
So, from this dialogue, you can add phrases like, "Can we talk for a minute? There was an issue, overlooked, send out, review the process, and set up a meeting" to your vocabulary list. These are all valuable for managing difficult conversations at work.
Next, let's move into a scenario that can be just as challenging: negotiating a raise or promotion. This is something everyone wants to do successfully, so it's important to know how to navigate it in English.
Hi, Mark. Do you have a few minutes to discuss something important?
Of course, Sophia. What's on your mind?
I've been reflecting on my work over the past year, and I believe it's time to discuss my role here. I've taken on several new responsibilities, and I feel that a promotion or a salary adjustment would be appropriate.
I appreciate you bringing this up. You've certainly been a key contributor to our team's success. What kind of adjustment are you looking for?
I'm looking for a role that reflects the additional tasks I've been handling, as well as a salary increase that's in line with the market rates for this position.
That's understandable. Let me review your contributions and the budget, and we can set up a time to discuss this in more detail.
That sounds great, Mark. I'm confident that we can come to an agreement that works for both of us.
I'm sure we will. Let's touch base later this week after I've had a chance to go over everything.
Negotiating a raise or promotion is one of the most crucial conversations you can have in your career. Sophia did a great job here by being clear, confident, and professional. Let's break down how she handled it.
Absolutely. Sophia starts with, "Do you have a few minutes to discuss something important?" This phrase is key when you need to signal that the topic is serious and deserves attention. A few minutes is a polite way to ask for someone's time without sounding demanding.
Then she says, "I've been reflecting on my work," which is a great way to introduce the idea that you've thought carefully about your performance. Reflecting means you've taken time to consider something deeply, and it's a good word to use in professional settings.
Sophia also uses the phrase, "a promotion" or "a salary adjustment," which is direct but polite. Promotion is an advancement in your job position. Salary adjustment is a formal way to say you want a raise. These terms help keep the conversation focused on your goals.
Mark's response, "What kind of adjustment are you looking for?" is an example of encouraging open dialogue. It invites Sophia to be specific about her request, which is important in negotiations. Being clear about what you want is crucial.
And when Sophia says, "I'm looking for a role that reflects the additional tasks I've been handling," she's emphasizing that her request is based on her increased responsibilities. The word "reflects" here means that her job title and pay should match the level of work she's doing.
Mark's final response, "Let's touch base later this week," is another way of saying they should follow up. Touch base is a casual phrase meaning to check in or continue a conversation. It's often used in professional settings to suggest a follow-up.
So in this dialogue, we've introduced useful phrases like, "Do you have a few minutes to discuss something important?" "Reflecting on my work," "promotion," "salary adjustment," "what kind of adjustment," and "touch base." These will be valuable when discussing your career growth.
Now let's transition to another important topic, handling a performance review. This is an annual or semi-annual meeting where your work is evaluated by your supervisor, and it's important to be prepared for it.
Hi, James. Thanks for meeting with me today to go over my performance review.
Of course, Anna. I've been looking forward to our discussion. Overall, you've done excellent work this past year. Let's start by discussing some of your key strengths. One of your biggest strengths is your ability to manage multiple projects simultaneously. Your organizational skills are top-notch, and you consistently meet deadlines without compromising quality.
I appreciate that feedback. Project management is something I've worked hard on, so it's great to hear that it's paying off.
Absolutely. Now, one area where I think there's room for growth is in delegating tasks. You tend to take on a lot of work yourself, and while you handle it well, I think you could benefit from involving your team more.
That's a good point. I've noticed that too, and I'm working on trusting my team with more responsibilities. I'll make it a priority moving forward.
That's great to hear. Overall, I'm very impressed with your performance, and I'm confident that with a few adjustments, you'll continue to excel.
Thanks, James. I'm motivated to keep improving, and I appreciate your guidance.
Let's check in again in a few months to see how things are progressing. Keep up the great work.
Performance reviews can be nerve-wracking, but they're also an opportunity to get valuable feedback and improve. Let's talk about how Anna handled her review.
Anna starts by saying, "Thanks for meeting with me today," which is a polite way to acknowledge the time James is taking for the review. It's always good to start on a positive note.
James uses the phrase, key strengths, which is a common way to highlight someone's main abilities or skills. He also mentions organizational skills, which refers to Anna's ability to manage her time and tasks effectively, a critical skill in any job.
When James says, "There's room for growth in delegating tasks," he's providing constructive feedback. Room for growth is a nice way to say that there's potential for improvement. Delegating tasks means assigning responsibilities to others, which is important for teamwork.
Anna's response, "I'll make it a priority moving forward," shows that she's taking the feedback seriously and is committed to improving. Make it a priority means she'll focus on it as an important goal.
Finally, James suggests they check in again in a few months, which is another way of saying they should follow up. Check in is a versatile phrase that can be used in many contexts, especially in professional settings.
So, in this dialogue, we've added phrases like key strengths, room for growth, delegating tasks, make it a priority, and check in again. These are all great phrases to use during performance reviews or any kind of feedback session.
That's all for today's episode of Quick English Podcast. We hope you found these scenarios and phrases helpful for your English at work.
Don't forget to practice these phrases and use them in your conversations. Join us next time for more tips on improving your English.
Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us create more content to help you improve your English. Bye for now.